Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tony Luke and I'm a local realtor here in Cedar Rapids and Iowa City area. Today we're going to cover the weather in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Before we do though, if you have any thoughts of buying, selling real estate here in Cedar Rapids, I got your back. I'm here to help. I've had a lot of people reach out to me lately, so go ahead and reach out to me, call or text. I'm here to help. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and you'll get all the information you ever wanted about Cedar Rapids and Iowa City in this channel. But let's go ahead and go straight to the content of the weather in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. One of the great things about Cedar Rapids that I love and a lot of people that reach out to me is that we have 4 seasons. The winter is obviously very cold here in Iowa. We have 3 to 4 months of below freezing temperatures and it can get all the way down into the negatives even as the high temperature during the day. Then you get into spring, it's really nice. You get that light jacket, that nice 50, 60 degree days, and that extends for quite some time, all the way until about May into June sometimes. The thing about Cedar Rapids is that it can be very hot and humid, with temperatures getting above 90 degrees more than 10 to 15 days of the summer. It's consistently in that 80 to 90 degree weather with high humidity. And then we get to fall, and fall is another beautiful time of the year. The leaves are changing. Again, you wear that light jacket that extends all the way from about September. It starts to change all the way sometimes through November depending on the year. The one thing you may not know if you're not from the area is that it can be very windy here in Cedar Rapids. We are very comparable to Chicago, which is obviously called the Windy City. We're not quite as windy as there, but we're comparable. And then if you compare it to Minneapolis, we're actually quite a bit windier than there. Now with the wind, it drops down to its lowest mile per hour here in the summer, and I'll put a graph up here showing that. This means that it's more hot and humid, unfortunately, in the summer. The wind dies down, you don't blow that hot humid air around as much. It can be very uncomfortable if you don't like humidity. The wind, when you live here, you notice this in late fall, the wind starts to pick up all the way through the winter into spring until you hit that summer again where it drops back down. That's just what you should know about Cedar Rapids weather, is that it's comparable to even Chicago, called the Windy City, and it can be very windy here throughout the year. In the description, I'm going to put a few links of some great sites that I found doing this video. If you want to go in depth, this is just going to be an overview of Cedar Rapids weather. Definitely check out those links below because you'll get a lot more information than just this video. If you're watching this video, you're obviously looking at the weather. Maybe you want to move here and you want to know the cost of living. Well, I did a video on that linked above. Go ahead and click that link and learn all about the cost of living here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Now we're going to get into snowfall. Cedar Rapids gets on average around 32 inches of snow per year. The snowfall starts usually around November on a typical year and extends through March. So you could possibly see snow accumulating for 5 months here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. February on average is the highest amount. There's a graph here that shows exactly how much on average we get. Now I want to compare that to a few of the Midwestern cities here, and that's Chicago and Minneapolis. So we'll start in Chicago. This is how it compares. We're very comparable to Chicago in most things in weather, but there are a few variations, but you'll see that as far as snowfall, we're very comparable. Now we're going to compare Cedar Rapids to Minneapolis. Minneapolis is obviously north here, about 4 to 5 hours. They obviously get colder weather year round. And you'll see in the snowfall amount, it's not necessarily the overall precipitation, but snow for sure, they get more than Cedar Rapids by a considerable amount. The last thing I want to cover is temperature. We're going to go all 4 seasons, and I'm going to show you the variations from winter all the way to summer in our climate here in Cedar Rapids. So in this graph, you're going to see February 7th was the coldest day all year last year, and it was -5 and a low of -21. This just shows that it can get very, very cold in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It's something that you should know about Cedar Rapids, that it can get bitter, bitter cold here. In this graph, it's showing when spring started in 2021, and that was in March. You'll see that the temperatures were in the 50s and 60s all the way through May. This just shows that you have a considerable amount of time in the spring that you can really enjoy the weather and it not be too hot or too cold here in Cedar Rapids. Now we're into summer, and you'll see that there's 5 days over 90 degrees degrees in June, 3 in July, and 6 in August. What this showed in 2021 is that you have very warm temperatures, hot and humid, from June all the way through August every year here in Cedar Rapids. And now we're going to get into fall. The weather usually starts to cool down at least at night, and it extends even into December on certain years. The weather in November is kind of volatile though. Sometimes it's very warm in November and sometimes it's very cold. But you can definitely experience through October very, very mild temperatures that are very pleasant to be out and about in. Around that time when the winter solstice happens, around that December 21st mark, you'll see that the days are very short with the sun going down around that 4:30 mark. And then you get into summer and the days are relatively long here, and you'll go all the way till 9:15 around that June 21st mark. This just shows the difference on times of dates. Obviously, the closer you get to the summer solstice, the longer the day gets. The closer you get to the winter solstice, the shorter the day gets. That's an overview of the weather. If you got some value, make sure to comment below and make sure to subscribe to the channel, guys. It really helps me see that I'm making a difference with you guys, and I do have people reaching out to me. I really appreciate that. Support the channel. Have a great rest of the fall, and we'll see you on the next video.